Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. So today we're going to be taking a look at a beer from Mikkeller Brewing Company. You may know them from being in San Diego. This is where this one came out of, but they're also known for being a brewery that has locations all around the world, from Japan to Belgium to a bunch of places in Europe. They've kind of put a name for themselves to be a worldwide brewery when it comes to being able to create craft beer from all kinds of walks of areas and all that kind of stuff. And today we're going to be taking a look at one from the San Diego location, which is called their Beer Geek S'more Shake. It's a 10.5% ABV Imperial Oatmeal Stout. And yeah, I'm pretty damn excited about this one. I know the weather's starting to get warm, but to me, it's always stout season whenever I'm in the mood to drink a stout. Weather doesn't really kind of play as a factor of when I'm in the mood to drink one. So today, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. And yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of the stuff Mikkeller's come out with, especially when it comes to their Imperial Stouts. They make them boozy. They make a bunch of different barrel-aged varieties. And most of the time, they've been absolutely fantastic. I think when Tucky was talking about earlier where he's only been let down by them once. And I want to say I was let down by the beer that I think he might be talking about. I'm not sure if it's the same beer, but I had one from them that was a raspberry coffee sour that was interesting, but it was I don't think it was for me. So other than that, the rest of the beers that I've had from Mikkeller, especially out of the San Diego location, have been phenomenal. They've have a bunch of different varieties of stouts, a bunch of different barrel-aged stuff. I know they do the Trey Blood, which is like a barrel-aged kind of stout they do with maple syrup and all that kind of stuff, and it's fantastic. And this one I'm hoping kind of stays in that same kind of realm. I don't think this is a barrel-aged one, but this is from their limited series where they do the Beer Geek stuff, so they kind of make these ones for all these kinds of craft beer fans where they want a little bit more specific flavors in their beers and everything. So yeah, this is like I said, 10.5%. So definitely gonna be a boozy one. And of course, Mikkeller knows how to make their stouts pretty damn well. So I just want to open this thing up and drink it already. So let's crack this guy open and see what we get on the nose with this guy. I'm expecting some really some creamy elements to it. I'm expecting, since they're trying to imitate a s'more, gonna get notes of chocolate, maybe a little bit of marshmallow. Of course, when I think of marshmallow, I think of hints of vanilla. They're gonna be in there as well. But I'm really curious what the graham cracker note's gonna be in this one, just because a lot of the times I have a stout that's trying to imitate a s'more. More of the time, you're going to get the more of a breadier notes that they use from the malts in the beer itself, and not maybe the flavors of them adding graham crackers into it. I mean, most of the time they will add graham crackers to it, probably during the fermentation process, just to kind of get those more breadier notes, and maybe, depending on the graham cracker, some sweetness coming through as well. So I'm really curious if that's going to be something that's noticeable in this. Most of the time when I've had a s'more stout, the graham cracker element of it is not really noticeable at all. You're going to get the chocolate, you're going to get the marshmallow. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to try this one out. Definitely getting a little sweetness coming through it, a little bit of a chocolatey note. Not really getting much of a marshmallowy vanilla kind of note, not really. More I'm getting, it's kind of the chocolate is giving me almost a semi-sweet chocolate. Sometimes you get those kind of flavors almost being similar to a coffee. Almost, there's a little bit of a roasty element going on. But yeah, it smells delicious. So without further ado, let's pour this guy. Gonna be drinking out of my untapped tulip glass this afternoon. Let's see how thick and dark as my soul this thing is. Oh yeah, this is black as my soul. A little bit of a light brown head on it. I don't know, I'm wondering if this is gonna be creamy, if it's gonna have some effervescence to it. I'm not sure, but definitely on the pour, you can kind of hear the carbonation coming through. So this might be a little bit more of a effervescent Imperial Stout. Still getting a little bit of notes of semi-sweet chocolate. Definitely some of the breadiness from the malts coming through. Yeah, it smells delicious. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So, cheers everybody. Happy Saturday. Right, yeah, Saturday. Yeah, that's solid. It's definitely, I don't know if I'd put this in the realm of tasting like a s'more, to be honest. I'm getting a lot of roasted, almost bitter kind of notes that you would get with coffee. Definitely getting a little bit of chocolate. It's definitely more on the realm of being a dark chocolate. That might be bringing in some of the bitterness in there as well. Not really getting much of a sweetness from the vanilla or a marshmallowy kind of thing. I'm thinking if there's any kind of sweetness, it's the slightest amount, probably towards the end, where maybe some of the like the smoked and the roasted malts, bringing off more of those bitter, breadier flavors coming through. And they may have just added a little bit of it just to kind of balance that out, so it's not too acidic, not too bitter. But overall, yeah, it kind of tastes like a coffee stout to me. To be honest, there's not really much going on with this one that gives me flavors of a s'more. It just tastes like a nice roasty, dark chocolate coffee stout. And overall, it's delicious, but it's not kind of tasting like what it should be, which is kind of disappointing. So let's look over here on Untappd, which we like to do. And of course, if you can't get your hands on this one from Mikkeller over in San Diego, because I think on their website, I'm not 100% sure if they ship to everybody. They have like a mailing service, a beer mail subscription where you can gift people beer, you can buy beer for yourself. I'm not sure if they only sell it within the state of California. So I'm really curious if that's the thing, but maybe for the beer itself, you might only have to be in the state of California. Maybe when it comes to the merchandise, hats, beanies, shirts, you might be able to ship that stuff across the country. But right now on their website, they have a bunch of different beers available through their web shop. And of course, you can look at what kind of beer they have. They have different like sours, hoppy beers, dark beers. There's the beer mail. So their website is pretty intricate and really nice to navigate, which is always something I enjoy seeing, just because if you're a brewery and you kind of have a nice established website, especially if you do distribution, it's really nice to have a website that's really easy to navigate. And Mikkeller's website is always really, really nice to look at because they have some like effects on there that are pretty funny and shit. But overall, yeah, this beer is good. It's just not the flavor profile that I wanted out of it. So let's look here back at Untappd and let's see what they show for similar beers on this one and see if we could pick anything out here that you may have heard of, something that may be available in your area that you possibly can pick up to get almost similar flavors from this one. So we got one here from Lumberbeard Brewing called Bobbing for Apples, which is an 11% pastry stout, more of like a salted caramel apple pie kind of situation. I don't think I would consider that one. We got one here from Four Hands Brewing Company called the Madagascar Triple Chocolate, which is a double milk imperial stout, 9.3%, aged in bourbon barrels with Madagascar vanilla. This one I actually think might actually be a little bit better than this one, just because you're going to get that little bit of sweetness. Of course, the chocolate's going to be nice, so maybe the vanilla and the chocolate might imitate maybe chocolate and marshmallow kind of situation. So that one may not be a bad pick, so because I know Four Hands gets their stuff available pretty well. And let's see, we got one here from the Duck Rabbit Craft Brewery, which is called the Rabid Duck, which is a Russian Imperial Stout, extremely big and robust. Let's see. Roasted malts, bitter chocolate, espresso coffee. Yeah, actually, okay, so if I'm looking at what this beer tastes like, where how I'm telling you guys I'm only getting like dark chocolate and roasted coffee kind of flavors, I'm not really going to suggest something that's going to taste more like a stout, because if you want to get your hands on something that's similar to this, sure, it may have the same flavor profile, but it's going to taste different depending on the ingredients and stuff. So then we got one here from White Elm Brewing Company, which I can't pronounce, so I'm not even going to look at that. And then finally, we have one from Prairie Artisan Ales called the Double Vanilla Noir, which is a nice imperial style barrel aged with Madagascar vanilla and Tahitian vanilla. So that's actually sounds pretty delicious. But I think I'm going to go with this Rabid Duck, to be honest. And the Duck Rabbit Craft Brewery is located in Farmville, North Carolina. Man, only North Carolina would come out with a town named Farmville. But yeah, I think this Rabid Duck would probably be the closest thing to this beer that you would show on the similar beers list. Of course, you got the espresso that would bring in that nice bitter coffee flavor. And then, of course, the roasted malts also bring in a slight bitterness as well. And then when they're talking about dark chocolate, like a bitter chocolate, because that's what I think of when I think of dark chocolate, I think of a nice bitter chocolatey flavor. It's definitely going to be pretty similar to this, I think. But overall, to me, this doesn't taste like a s'more, but it's still a very enjoyable beer. I feel like if they would have named it like a chocolate coffee stout instead of a s'more shake, yeah, I think I would have been more on board with actually showing this to be a higher rating than with what I'm going to give it, other than just making it seem like, oh, this is going to be a s'mores beer, and it's not really a s'mores beer at all, in my opinion. So let's look here on Untappd and see if anybody on my friends list checked this one in. Of course, we got one, he checked this one in. My dad checked this one in back in October when he purchased off Tavor, and he said, I don't know why he said states it's only a 10.5 when it actually says on the can 10.5. They might have, on this Untapped page, they might have had the old version of the ABV still showing up, but they might have updated it so since he checked it in. So yeah, and he gave it a 4 out of 5, which yeah, he enjoys it. So whenever my dad checks something in, gives it a 4 out of 5 or anything above a 3.75, he usually pretty enjoys it. So let's look back here on the global ratings and see what other people had to say about this guy. So this person gave it a 2.5, just saying Tavor. We got a 2.25 over here. Let's see, we got a 3.75 saying sometimes you really need a double-digit brew on a weeknight. Turns out this one was one of those nights. Bottoms up. And then he purchased this one at Mary's Six Pack and More, which is a place in Reading, Pennsylvania. So let's see. This guy didn't give it a rating, but he said great imperial pastry stout with nice chocolate, marshmallow, and graham cracker notes. Not really getting any of those. The chocolate notes, like I said, I'm getting is like a nice dark chocolate, bitter chocolate kind of flavor. What else we got here? We got a 4.25 here, purchase off Tavor. Another 4, another 4. So yeah, pretty good ratings. And going back to the top so we can see what the average rating and stuff in this guy are. So the description shows it's pretty simplistic when it comes to what they're putting on here. It's an oatmeal stout with vegan marshmallow. Hold on, vegan marshmallows? That's interesting. I don't know what a vegan marshmallow is. Graham cracker, vanilla, and natural flavors. So they don't really tell you the natural flavors in this one. But like I stated, it's a 10.5% ABV, so I would definitely not consider this a sessionable beer at all. You're going to be having one of these, and you're definitely not going to want to drive afterward just because you're probably going to be feeling a buzz after drinking at least one of these. And with over 994 ratings, this one is an average rating of 3.7 out of 5, which isn't bad. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to give it the highest rating possible when it comes to stuff from Mikkeller I've had. I know this is probably be on a little bit on the lower tier of stuff I've checked in from Mikkeller, but overall, it's still a good beer. It's just not what this beer is described as, in my opinion. I don't know. It could be that vegan marshmallow. I don't know what makes a marshmallow vegan, to be honest. But let's see here. What else do we got? I think I went through all these check-ins, see what people said about it. So yeah, some pretty good ratings, some 4 out of 5, some 3.75s. We got a couple, like right off the bat, some pretty low ratings. I wonder if they had the same experience I did, where it's like, oh, I'm drinking this thinking it's going to taste like a s'more, and why is this kind of tasting like a coffee stout kind of situation? I don't know. Definitely some interesting check-ins with this one. But with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on our end over here. So let's see. We pour a little bit more into the glass, and the first thing we grade here on this here review is can art. Which, of course, if anybody's had beer from Mikkeller before, when it comes to the stuff they have in cans, you can kind of recognize what their labels are going to be like. They have this kind of like token, almost like cardboard paper, like pictures, I guess you could say. That when I think of this, I think of people like getting the different like layered cardboard kind of stuff and like gluing it on instead of just it being like a painting. It doesn't really look like a painting to me. It's like almost layered paper in different colors to kind of create a picture, which this one is some dude sitting in front of a candle trying to roast a marshmallow and then trying to make a s'more or something. And Mikkeller definitely is another one of those breweries to where the texture on their labels is interesting. It almost has like a cardboard paper kind of feel to it. Of course, when you see the Mikkeller logo, it's really, really clean and classy, which I can always appreciate. But they don't really go into much like detail and stuff when it comes to their can art. They let the beer speak for itself most of the time, and I can appreciate that. There are a lot of breweries out there that don't go too crazy when it comes to trying to make intricate can art, and that's totally fine. I'm just more of a fan of when breweries kind of go a little bit in depth with the stuff like that, just because that's how you're marketing your beer. So if you want to market it really well, you're going to want to kind of make something that's going to catch somebody's attention at a liquor store or bottle shop or wherever it's being sold. So with this can art, yeah, I won't say it's not doing anything for me, but for a rating on can art, I'd probably give it like a 2.75, maybe a 3 out of 5 for can art. I mean, it's not my favorite. It's not something that I'd probably save to keep around, like where sometimes I like to keep labels and all that kind of stuff just because they're really cool. So this definitely isn't on that list for being one of them, but overall it is what it is. And let's see here. If I went over to Mikkeller and got this beer in a flight, would I get another one? To be honest, if I would have bought this beer and it said that it was like a chocolate, like a dark chocolate coffee stout, yeah, I would probably get another one. But no, knowing that I went into this thinking it's going to taste a little bit more like s'mores, having more of a milk chocolate flavor, not having as much coffee bitterness to it. Most likely, I would probably not get another one of these just because it doesn't match what the beer is supposed to taste like, in my opinion. So, I'd probably have a taster of this or have it in like one of the little 5-ounce glasses and then be done with it. I want to try some other stuff, maybe some of the barrel-aged stouts that kind of have better flavors, in my opinion. There's definitely a little bit more complexity to some of their barrel-aged stuff, but barrel-aging beer does that when it comes to adding a bunch of different more flavors to their beers. But overall, yeah, this beer's fine. It's, like I said, it's not anything to write home about, in my opinion, but I think it's a solid coffee chocolate stout, but it's not a s'more stout, in my opinion. It doesn't. There's really no elements in this that give me the element of s'mores. So that's the most disappointing part about this beer. But overall, it's still pretty solid. So with that being said, I think my final rating on this guy, I'm going to give a 6.75, maybe a 7. I think I'm going to leave it around like a 6.75 out of 10. If you want to get your hands on it, give it a shot. I'm not sure if it's available right now. Of course, I saw a couple places that picked it up in Pennsylvania, so most likely you can probably get it out there towards Reading. There might be some liquor stores or bottle shops that have it. Other than that, you may be able to go to your local liquor store or bottle shop and be able to see if they can get stuff from Mikkeller. I know Mikkeller's distribution is pretty good, so most likely a lot of distributors that do a lot of craft beer, all that kind of stuff, most likely will be able to get it. So you can talk to your person who does the purchasing at your local liquor store or bottle shop and see if they can get it in. And worst comes to worst, if this one's available, give it a shot for yourself and see what you think. But I don't want to say it's not for me. It's just not something I would go back to. So other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live, do another review. And of course, if you want to get stuff from Mikkeller showing up in your way, of course, if you're in the California area, if you want their stuff shipped to you, that is an option. You just have to go on Mikkeller San Diego's website, and most likely you can get it shipped to you. They have a bunch of stuff available over there right now. And link to the website is down in the description below if you want to check it out. Or you can just, another option is, is how I get my stuff from Mikkeller, is you can get yourself onto Tavour. You guys have heard me talk about them plenty of times before by now, so don't really need to get into that. So you can just go on Tavour's website. It's down in the description below as well. If you're on your phone, it'll lead you to the App Store where it's available, and you can download it, create your account, and they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you from Tavour, just because they like to deliver to more suburban areas, and delivering to more rural areas is a little bit more difficult just because they take advantage of like local courier services to deliver the product to you. So just download the app, create your account, and they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff delivered to you. But other than that, if you want to see more stuff about how I'm checking in these beers and what I'm drinking, of course, you can get yourself over to Untappd. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers. It's a fantastic time over there. You can see people like me, Wintucky, Ian, Duchess, Logan, Lee, not the real Gerard Butler's on there. There's a bunch of us on Untappd just checking in beers and having a good time. It's a fantastic platform. It's the one platform that anybody who's a fan of craft beer needs to get on, just because it's for everybody. There's so many different services they provide, so many different discount codes for different things within the craft beer industry that they support and do stuff for. So it's just a really, really cool platform that Untappd has created over there. You can download that on the Android or iPhone store as well. But last but not least, of course, if you want to support me any other way than just subscribing to the channel, I did talk about a couple weeks ago that last week, earlier this week, I don't remember by now, but I did start a Patreon if anybody's interested to support me in any of that. I'm going to be doing craft beer giveaways every month with a monthly 4-pack that you can win of all Illinois source breweries when it comes to that kind of stuff. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, if you join my Patreon, you can, depending on the tier you join, you have better chances to win. So if you join the lowest tier, you'll have 1 entry. Second to highest tier, you'll get 2 entries in, and then the highest tier, which I have available if you join my Patreon, you'll get 3 entries in to win a free 4-pack that will be stuff that I've picked out and all that kind of stuff sent to your way, and you can try some stuff that's usually available in my area. So link to my Patreon is down in the description below if you want to check that out as well. Not going to force anybody to do it, but if you want to support me that way, you're more than welcome to. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.